3 a.m. Shocking truth. Little girl's 911 call exposes what really happened to mommy under the floor. Jessica had always known her house was strange. The creaks at night felt different, like whispers crawling through the walls. But when she found her mother lying motionless, everything slipped into a dark pit of terror. It was 3 a.m. when she dialed 911, her small fingers trembling on the cold plastic. She "1T wake up." The words poured out, frantic and desperate. But there was more to the story than even Jessica understood. A chilling secret buried beneath the floorboards, a mystery that had been waiting for someone to uncover. As the operator's voice crackled through the phone, Jessica glanced around her dimly lit room. Shadows played tricks, stretching out like phantom fingers. The silence was thick enough to cut, and her heart thundered so loudly she feared it would wake the dead. Help is on the way. But what about the strange noises she heard last night? Thuds, as if someone, or something, was dragging itself across the floor underneath her very own home. The sirens wailed in the distance, but they sounded muffled, like echoes from a nightmare. Jessica pressed the phone tighter to her ear, wanting to drown out those lingering echoes. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. "There's something under the floor." The operator tried to soothe her, but the hollow thuds continued, scraping against the wood. Her mother remained motionless, and the shadows only grew deeper. Just as despair threatened to swallow her whole, a timid voice startled her. "Mommy?" A figure emerged from the hallway, her little brother, looking small and lost. His wide eyes shined under the flickering light. Jessica felt a lump in her throat. What if she couldn't protect him? What if they were trapped in a house that held secrets too dark to bear? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Suddenly, there was a loud bang beneath their feet, shaking the very foundations of the house. Jessica and her brother exchanged horrified glances. The sound was frantic, almost as if someone was trying to escape. "What's happening?" he whimpered. The air felt electric, humming with uncertainty, fear weaving through their minds like a thick fog. With every second dragging on, the shadows loomed larger, a prison of dread wrapping around them. Then came a voice, low and broken, echoing from the dark beneath the floor, "Help me please." They froze. Jessica's heart raced, pounding against her chest like a desperate bird trying to escape a cage. Who was that? What were they hiding? Everything seemed to blur in that moment, the fear, the confusion, and the urgent call for help. What was underneath, and would they dare to find out? Jessica's mind was a whirlwind, caught between the reality of her mother's lifeless form and the terror gnawing at her insides. "We have to go," she stuttered, gripping her brother's small hand tightly. His tiny fingers felt cold, and she could sense him quivering beside her. "We need to get out of here." But as she spun towards the hallway, the unmistakable thud beneath them rang out again, a desperate, hollow sound, like a warning. It reverberated up through the floorboards and seemingly through their very bones. "Wait!" came her brother's voice, shaky and filled with disbelief. "What if someone's down there? What if they need our help?" His wide eyes gleamed with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Jessica knew her brother was brave, but this was no ordinary situation. They couldn't be heroes. Not here. Not now. "Stay close to me," Jessica whispered fiercely. Her heart raced. "We'll go to the front door. Help is on the way." As they edged towards the door, the voice echoed again. "Help me please." It was heart-wrenching, a plea that broke through the layers of fear. Jessica paused. Who was down there? Why wouldn't they just get out? The questions clawed at her mind, making her hesitate. "Jess, we can't just leave someone," her brother urged, his innocence shining through the darkness. Before she could respond, the floor creaked ominously. Jessica's breath caught in her throat. The voice sounded so close now, so desperate. What if it was someone trapped, someone in need of rescue? What if? What if they were hiding something even more sinister? Don't, keeping her voice steady, she crouched down to Zach's level. "We don't know what's going on. I can't let you get hurt." But as she prepared to move, the ground beneath shifted violently, sending both children tumbling against the wall. Everything felt off balance, as if the very foundation of the house was shifting in response to the cries from below. "Did you see that?" Zach exclaimed, starting to cry. "Make it stop. Make it stop." His voice rose in panic. Jessica scrambled to reassure him, but another crash echoed under the floorboards, followed by an eerie silence. The sirens were drawing closer now, but that didn't matter. They were still trapped in this house. The walls seemed to pulse, alive with whispers and shadows that flickered in and out of sight. Shadows that seemed to beckon, taunting her. "Mommy?" Zach called out, voice trembling. Jessica squeezed his hand tighter, glancing back toward the hall. It was becoming clearer now whatever lay beneath the floor was crying out for help. With a surge of bravery, she released her grip on her brother's hand just long enough to take a tentative step back towards the sounds. "I'll see what's down there. You stay here." But before she could turn back, a trapdoor burst open with a heavy bang, and a figure clambered up from beneath muddy, disheveled, and shaking. Jessica's heart dropped as she locked eyes with the figure. It wasn't a stranger, it was her mother. "Help me!" Her mother gasped, her voice a chilling echo of the cries that had drawn them in. "Mommy!" Just as Jessica lunged forward, the ground shook violently again, as if the house itself was protesting, revealing the true monster clawing at their lives. A split-second decision loomed, one that would pivot between salvation and despair. But that figure beneath the floor, who was it really? And how much time did they have before the house swallowed them whole? Jessica's heart raced as she lunged forward, desperate to wrap her arms around her mother. But as she reached her, a sudden chill swept through the room, freezing her in place. Her mother's eyes, usually warm and reassuring, were wide with terror, a stark contrast to the gentle gaze she remembered. "Get back!" Her mother screamed, her voice cracking. "You shouldn't have come here." A wave of disbelief washed over Jessica. "But Mom, we thought you were." "I thought just listen." The urgency in her mother's voice pierced through Jessica's panic. "There's something down there. It's not safe. We have to leave now." Before Jessica could process the warning, the floorboards beneath them groaned ominously, as if the house itself shuddered in response. Zach's grip on her hand tightened, his small face a mask of confusion and fear. "Mommy, what's going on?" he asked, his voice a whisper. "Don't call me that." Her mother nearly shrieked, her eyes darting toward the trapdoor, a dark abyss that seemed to pulsate with an unspeakable dread. "You need to listen to me. I'm not who you think I am." A silence enveloped them, thick with tension. Jessica's heart raced as she took a step back, instinctively pulling Zach with her. "What do you mean? You're my mom. You just came back from beneath the floor." Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A faint rustling noise emerged from the trapdoor, growing more distinct. "Help me, please." The voice was softer now, almost a whisper, yet it gnawed at their resolve to stay. "Please. You have to listen to her." The voice pleaded again, more urgent and desperate. "She can't help you anymore." Jessica felt a cold wave of nausea wash over her. Potentially two versions of her mother pulled her in opposing directions, the familiar warmth of her real mother and this unsettling presence that demanded they stay and help. She looked up at her mother, no, the figure that looked like her mother, and saw her teeth clenched tight, eyes wide in alarm. Don't let her in. Her mother shouted, but the twisting fear in her mother's voice was eerily convincing. She's lying. She wants to hurt you. Mom, who's down there? Zack whimpered, staring at the trapdoor. Clarity pierced Jessica's mind. What are you hiding? She stepped toward her mother again, heart pounding. What happened down there? The figure flinched, but the other voice grew louder, as if riled by her question. Help me. I need to get out. She trapped me. Enough. Yelled Jessica's mother, her tone resolute and fierce. Despite her fear, Jessica couldn't look away from her mother's expression, stricken with an emotion she couldn't identify. Was it fear, desperation, or something deeper? Without warning, the house creaked sharply, vibrating with a menace that pulled them back into reality. With every inch, the darkness around the trapdoor seemed to swell, alive with sinister intentions. Mom! Zack cried, his voice cracking. Get away from her. She ordered, reaching out, as if to pull them both towards her, but Jessica hesitated. Should she trust the woman she had always known? Or the voice that beckoned from the shadows beneath them? Every second felt like an eternity, the air thick with dread. What do we do? She asked, panic threading through her words. The sudden thud from below reawakened the terror, forcing her to make a choice. A dark figure began to form in the shadows beneath the trapdoor, and Jessica knew she needed to decide quickly. Help me! It screamed once more, the sound echoing in her bones. Time was running out. Should they escape or confront the horror lurking in the basement? Everything was spinning out of control, and Jessica felt she was fading, drowning in uncertainty. In that moment of choices and shadows, she realized one truth: their lives depended on the choice she was about to make. Would she open the trapdoor and face whatever lay beneath, or would they flee and risk leaving behind a potential ally or an even greater monster? As the figure continued to rise, Jessica's breath hitched. What lay beneath was not just calling out for help, it was about to unveil a truth so shocking, it could tear their family apart forever. The trapdoor creaked open with a haunting groan, revealing a pitch-black void filled with a chill that seemed to seep into Jessica's bones. Each heartbeat thudded in her ears, drowning out the cries below. The figure that emerged was barely discernible, a silhouette shrouded in shadow, but the voice was clear, desperate and trembling. Please. You have to free me. It urged, shifting closer, a pair of pale hands gripping the edge of the trapdoor. Jessica wanted to trust the plea, but everything in her screamed for caution. Mom! Jessica gasped, torn between the figure mimicking her mother and the one clawing from the darkness. What is happening? Don't listen to her. Her mother's voice cut through the fog, sharp like ice. It's not safe, Jessica. She's not your ally. The words hung in the air like a thunderclap, crackling with palpable energy. Jessica's mind was a storm of confusion, entangled between the warmth she felt for the woman she called Mom and the chilling cries for help that beckoned her from below. Who are you? She steadied her voice, squeezing Zack's hand. He trembled, wide-eyed, searching for answers in Jessica's gaze. What's down there? Something ancient, the voice from below whispered, weaving in and out of the darkness, something trapped for too long. Your mother has kept me here under the floorboards all these years. Shut up. Jessica's mother screamed, fear spilling over into rage. You can't believe her. She's trying to manipulate you. Don't let her in. Just then, the floorboards rattled violently, and something cold slithered across Jessica's feet. It was unsettling, as though the very foundation of the house was alive, warning them of an unseen horror. The house sighed, the walls seeming to pulse as if breathing in tandem with the mounting dread. Listen to your mother, Jessica. A guttural voice cried from beneath, echoing with anguish. She lies. She needs you to let her keep control. You're the key. Key? Jessica echoed, her curiosity battling against instinctual fear. Yes. You've always been. The voice hissed. Unlock the truth. I can show you everything, the past, the secrets buried beneath this house. She felt a tightening in her chest, a pang of awareness surging through her. The air flickered then, shifting with something malevolent, yet familiar, tugging at fragmented memories. Family stories whispered through fragile childhood, shadows dancing in the corners, strange noises that never made sense until now. What happened to you? To us? Jessica begged, desperation clawing at her throat. The tension hung like a thick fog, enveloping them in a suffocating grip. The figure above shuddered, emotions flickering across her face. No, don't listen. She's trying to bring you down with her. We have to get out of here now. Don't listen. The voice cried again, louder, more frantic. You have to make the choice. This is where it all began. Open the door. Zach was crying now, pulling on Jessica's sleeve, panic in his wide blue eyes. It felt like the world was collapsing around them, crumbling under the weight of dark secrets woven through their lives. The darkness from the trapdoor swelled, curling like smoke, creeping toward her like a frozen river. Jessica's heart raced, each beat a question that echoed within her. Did she dare find out the truth, even if it meant walking into the shadows? Jessica. Her mother screamed, the horror in her eyes morphing into something frantic, desperate. If you open that door, you might never find your way back. A loud bang punctuated the tense silence, shaking the house as if something or someone was trying to break free. Time felt like it had slowed, silence threading thin strands of tension around them. What truth loomed in the darkness? What if opening that trapdoor meant confronting more than just a being from below? What if it meant confronting the truth about her family? The choice bore down on Jessica, suffocating and claustrophobic. Suddenly, the figure's scream pierced the air, the weight of impending revelation collapsing into her uncertain hands. Will you set me free, or will you let the darkness consume you all? The silence shattered as Jessica's world tilted on its axis. The scream echoed in her mind like a siren, sharp and unyielding. She stood frozen, the air thick with terror. Every instinct told her to flee, yet a dark curiosity shackled her feet to the floor. Jessica. Don't. Her mother's voice slid into a higher pitch, desperation spilling into the corners of her tone. You must believe me. She'll only bring ruin. But the darkness beneath beckoned like a siren's call. The soft murmur of hidden truths toyed with Jessica's sanity, wrapping around her like a vine. What do you want from me? A whisper escaped her lips, giving voice to her swirling confusion. Just trust, the shadowy figure below rasped. Let me show you what she's hidden away. Your family's fate is intertwined with mine. There it was, the bait. Jessica's heart hammered in her chest, a wild animal seeking escape. She felt Zach's grip tighten, his fingers shaking like leaves in a storm, grounding her as fear threatened to swallow her whole. Yet, that grip held her back from the abyss, reminded her of the love they shared in their shared horror. The trapdoor quaked again, and more shadows seeped from its edges, dancing with whispers of betrayal that coaxed her to step closer. The uncertainty clung to her like a thick fog. Could she trust her instincts to guide her? Or was the darkness simply another illusion, designed to mislead? Jessica. Her mother's voice broke through the chaos. Don't make a mistake you can't undo. Don't trust her. But the plea became a dull thrum in the background of Jessica's mind, fading as the tremors from below grew louder. You were always meant to know the truth. The voice from the void was soothing, laced with a sultry promise of secrets and understanding that had eluded her for years. What truth? What can you tell me that my mom hasn't? Jessica blurted, the need to know battling against her instincts. I can show you what really happened. I can take you back to the day it all began. The voice lilted like a chilling lullaby, ethereal and beckoning, but with those words, an onslaught of images flooded through Jessica's mind, flashes of childhood memories that had painted her perception of family. They were filled with laughter, yet they held shadows too, deep cracks she had long since ignored. She felt the weight of her mother's childhood hiding in the corners, and the heaviness pulled at her heart. Please, Jessica. Her mother's face was a storm of fear and despair. "You don't know what you are diving into. It's a trap." Zach's whimper broke the tension. "I want to go home, Jess. I don't want to stay here." His voice trembled, a fragile thread unraveling her resolve. Yet the darkness writhed with a life of its own, twisting into a silhouette that tugged at her exhaustion and her yearning for answers. "Will you be brave enough to discover your family's history? Or will you let the lie continue?" The ground trembled as though sensing her indecision, vibrations resonating through Jessica's feet. A sudden crash echoed against the stillness of the house, shaking the walls and forcing the air from her lungs. Something was coming, something that would either reveal the past or drag them into a timeless pit of despair. "I can't keep this truth hidden much longer," the voice taunted, as shadows surged closer, weaving into the form of a figure. Jessica felt a chill coil around her heart. She stood at the brink. Every heartbeat brought her closer to a decision that could shatter everything she believed. "I have to know," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Did she dare explore the darkness, or would she become yet another victim of the shadows that haunted her family? "Choose," whispered the voice again, a dark crescendo that crescendoed with every pulse racing through her veins. On the cusp of her choice, the trapdoor widened, and the darkness surged forth, coiling around her as she felt a pull deeper than fear itself. Would she relent and explore the shadows below? Or would the revelation consume her whole? Jessica gasped as the shadows lunged from the trapdoor, curling around her legs like tendrils of smoke. Time lost meaning, every heartbeat echoing louder than the last, each second stretching into an eternity. The world around her blurred, the edges of reality fraying as she felt the pull of the darkness deepen. This was no ordinary choice. It was a dive into chaos, and the very core of her being screamed both at her to jump and to run. Zach's eyes widened in panic, his breath shallow. "Jess. Please." He pleaded, desperation flooding his small frame. She felt an overwhelming urge to protect him, yet the shadows whispered sweet promises of hidden knowledge, tugging at the corners of her mind. They echoed the pain she could not ignore, secrets buried beneath years of silence. "Choose her or lose everything." The voice beckoned, its tone a sultry lure woven with despair. "Mom!" Jessica shouted, her voice frantic and cut through the tension. "I need to know what you're hiding." She faced her mother, who turned ashen, eyes wide and glistening with unshed tears. "Jessica. That is not a path you want to tread." Her mother's voice trembled, cracking under the weight of urgency. "You don't understand what this could mean. You could lose more than you find." But there was a stirring in Jessica, a swirling tempest of confusion and rage. With every heartbeat, the shadow of her mother's past loomed larger, eclipsing the small light of hope that remained in their tiny household. "I have to." Suddenly, the shadows recoiled, forming a solid outline before her. The figure seemed to solidify from the darkness, skin glistening like midnight, eyes shimmering with an unnatural light. "The past has so much to teach you," it murmured softly, each syllable caressing her ear with treacherous allure. "Are you willing to learn?" Heart pounding, she nodded, part of her fighting the instinct to withdraw, to retreat back to safety. It was a reckless decision fueled by desperation, a choice she might never take back. Zach's cry split the air again, desperate and raw. "No, Jess. It's a trap." But she took a step forward, then another, the world around her spinning. Her fingers brushed against the trapdoor's edge, the cold surface sending shivers through her entire being. "Jessica!" Her mother shouted, panic sharp as a blade. "Don't do this." But the darkness had wrapped around her more tightly, whispering secrets that sent chills down her spine. "Take my hand," the figure urged, reaching forward. Its voice was hypnotic, weaving into her mind like a heady perfume. "Together, we'll reveal everything." The room began to shake. Floors creaked and walls groaned in protest, as if the entire house was alive and terrified of the awakening truth. A cacophony of sounds erupted, muffled cries, wailing whispers, echoes of distant memories that shattered through multiple layers of time, merging into indiscriminate horror. Jessica hesitated, swallowing hard. She could feel the pull of the shadows intensifying, and her heart raced faster, echoing her mother's warnings, pushing at her to turn back. But what if this was the only way to save them all? Please, the shadows coiled tighter around her, almost suffocating but impossibly seductive. Embrace what you fear. It's the only way to break the chains. She inhaled deeply and made her choice, reaching out toward the shadowed figure. The moment their fingers met, a jolt surged through her, hot and cold, pain and clarity coursing through her veins. The trapdoor below gaped wide, swallowing her initial uncertainty as images raw, urgent, fragmented flashed before her eyes, laughter intermingled with piercing screams, glimpses of faces twisted in fear, shadows flickering against darkened walls. What is happening? Panic surged through her, the terror of the truth wrestling with her intent. But the darkness had its grip now, pulling her further into its depths, the echoes forming a continuous mantra. The culmination of her choice was rising up to meet her, lurking just beyond her reach. The figure leaned closer, its breath ghosting against her cheek. Filled with a promise. You will learn everything, but are you prepared for the consequences? Another crash resonated through the house, a final warning shot that made the walls tremble as though the very foundation was about to split. Jessica's heart raced, dread pooling in her gut. She could not turn back now, the shadows were closing in, and the truth was a wild beast waiting to be unleashed. What lay ahead was unfathomable, and she could feel the pulse of fate quickening. Would the truth be her sanctuary or her doom? The shadows tightened around Jessica's limbs, pulling her deeper into their dark embrace. A surge of energy pulsed through her, as if the very fabric of her reality quaked, eager to reveal its secrets. As she floated in this murky abyss, visions erupted like fireworks behind her eyelids. Each explosion of light bore witness to fragmented memories, heart-wrenching and vivid, her mother, smiling and carefree, intertwined with glimpses of fear and despair. The chilling contrast left a bitter taste in Jessica's mouth. A flash of her mother's tears, glistening under the solemn glow of the same light that now flickered ominously in the corners of the room. Jessica, the shadowed figure said softly, drawing her out further into the darkness. Let go of your past and embrace the future I offer. Would you rather continue living in ignorance? A low growl echoed through the space. It felt ancient, charged with a malignant energy. Jessica shivered, struggling against the tightening grip of the shadows, wrestling with the weight of her decision. You don't know what you're asking. Her mother's voice pierced the darkness, raw and desperate. They will consume you. Jessica gritted her teeth, memories from that night, the night everything unraveled, surfaced like ghosts. The muffled sounds of a struggle, the horrifying crash of glass shattering. Her heart raced as adrenaline surged. I'd do anything for the truth. She shouted, refusing to be swayed by fear. The figure smiled, an unsettling expression etched on its shadowy face. Very well, then, take your first step into the light of knowledge. As if on command, the ground beneath her shifted dramatically. The trapdoor gaped wider, revealing an unending vortex of color and noise. Jessica felt her body pitching forward, gravity dissolving as if the universe were yawning wide to swallow her whole. She gasped as the darkness wrapped tighter, pulling her deeper into illusion and chaos. Suddenly, she landed hard and cold on the floor of memories. It felt like concrete under her palms, and she pushed herself up, panting. Her heart thundered against her ribcage as she blinked against a sudden blinding light. Before her stretched a room, eerily familiar. A child's room filled with toys and secrets her own from years ago. A thick, suffocating air surrounded her, and it was charged with a suppressed urgency that made her skin crawl. Mom. She called out cautiously. The voice echoed back at her in a way that felt brittle. The walls trembled, and a mirror loomed against the far corner. She approached it slowly, dread threading its way through her veins. What the mirror reflected made her stumble back. A darkened shadow stood behind her, the very figure from the trapdoor. She turned to confront it, but there was only an empty room. A chill whispered through her, but she couldn't look away. Now you see, the figure breathed, as if it were an extension of her desires. You must confront what you buried. This is just the beginning. Fingers of ink twisted around her throat, not constricting but guiding her back toward the mirror. She resisted for a moment, but the pull was inescapable. Look into yourself, Jessica. It commanded, its voice resonating with the weight of forgotten memories. What do you fear that lies within? The mirror shimmered, morphing into swirling images. A blurry outline of her mother filled the glass, tears streaming down her face. The last words they shared echoed. I love you, Jess, no matter what you uncover, promise me you'll stand firm. Jessica's heart ached, the bittersweet memory curling around her like smoke. It felt both like a comfort and a prison. She stepped closer, heart pounding louder as reality began to shift once more. What was waiting on the other side of that reflection? And what dark truths remained hidden beneath the surface, just beyond her reach? With one final glance at the shadow behind her, Jessica stepped toward the mirror, ready to face whatever awaited on the other side. Could she fight against the darkness clawing at her, or would she be consumed by the very secrets she sought to unearth? The mirror rippled like a disturbed pond, drawing Jessica closer with each heartbeat. She felt a strange compulsion to reach out, her fingertips grazing the cool, smooth surface. The moment she touched it, time seemed to break. It felt as if she was being sucked into a whirlwind, images fluttering like moths around a flame, colors burst in a cacophony of vibrant hues. She found herself standing in the same room, but it was drenched in shadows that danced menacingly along the walls. Her childhood toys lay scattered, half hidden in corridors of darkness, casting grotesque silhouettes. A sense of dread swirled around her, making her shiver, but there was something else too, a thin thread of hope. Jessica, a soft voice beckoned. It was familiar yet distant, filled with a haunting kind of longing. You must remember. She turned quickly, gripping her fists. As soon as she did, the atmosphere shifted. The air became dense, thundering with unspoken truths. Jessica's throat tightened. She wanted to run, but with every fiber of her being, she pressed on. She was closer to understanding, to finding the answers that haunted every corner of her mind. Show me. She cried out, voice trembling, a fierce resolve flickering within her. The wall to her left convulsed, revealing a scene suspended in amber, a memory extracted from the depths of her mind. A younger Jessica stood there, frantically dialing a phone, tears streaking her cheeks. Please, 911. There's a problem with my mom. She's. The splintered words were edged with fear, and as the memory replayed, Jessica felt each jolt of terror. Panic surged through her. How could she have forgotten? Had she buried it so deeply, fearing the implications? The figure emerged again from the shadows, looming behind her, its eyes glowing like coals. You can't run from this, Jessica. Her voice will forever echo in your mind. You are the key to uncovering the truth. She spun around to confront it, her resolve swelling. What do you want from me? I don't need you. But the figure only smiled, a cruel, knowing grin that seemed to slice through the air. You need to understand, dear girl. Darkness lurks not just outside, but within. With a snap of its fingers, darkness engulfed the room, wrapping around her like a thick fog. Dread pooled in her stomach as the mirror flickered once more, this time showing a new scene, a small house, eerily quiet. Memory or nightmare, she couldn't tell. All she knew was that it was where she had grown up, the place where she lost everything. Mom, please be here, she whispered, feeling small yet brave as she walked forward. The walls whispered secrets, awakening echoes of laughter and sorrow. Light flickered through the cracks, revealing glimpses of her mother in happy times and sad. It was a dance of dark and light that twisted her heart, doubling her anguish. Timid, she reached for the doorknob leading out of her past. Whatever happened, I need to know, she murmured, determination flooding her veins. But as she turned the knob, the shadows surged forward, trying to ensnare her, pulling her back like a riptide. No. You can't go. A voice shrieked, mixing with the shadows, chilling her blood. Jessica stumbled back, fear slicing through her. I have to face it. With steely resolve, she pushed the door open. What lay beyond could do one of two things: free her or consume her. As she crossed the threshold, darkness enveloped her completely, and she gasped, her heart pounding. What awaited her on the other side? The whispers of her past converged with a gut-wrenching silence, and in that weighty moment, she realized the stakes had risen. This was no longer just about uncovering secrets but fighting for her life itself. What awaited at the end of this terrifying journey? A truth too horrifying to bear, or liberation from the shadows? Would she emerge stronger or become another echo lost to the darkness? The darkness pressed in on her like a heavy blanket, dulling her senses. Jessica's breath quickened as she stumbled forward into the unknown, disoriented by the lack of light. Every step felt heavier, as if the ground itself was an anchor pulling her back into those haunted memories she had tried so hard to bury. Suddenly, a flicker of light broke through the blackness. It grew brighter, illuminating a small room that felt intimately familiar: her old bedroom. The colors danced like flames, shadows spiraling in and out of her sight. Old, plush toys stared back at her, eyes sparkling with neglect. Dust floated in the air, dancing around the remnants of the past. Mom. She called out, her voice trembling in this strange limbo. No answer came, only the echo of her own desperation rebounding around the walls. She reached out to touch the stuffed bunny sitting on the shelf, just as she had as a child. Ice-cold dread flooded her body as she sensed more than the plush fabric. She felt the weight of unspoken questions hanging heavily in the air. You need to find the truth, the figure's voice broke through the silence, startling her. The shadows began to take shape, and she saw the figure again, a grotesque likeness of her own mother, twisted into a portrayal of anguish. You can't just leave me here. Panic gripped her heart. What do you mean? You're not real. She yelled, defensive yet frail. You're just a reflection of my memories. Memories are all that's left, the figure hissed, the darkness swirling more viciously around it. And they can destroy you if you let them. Jessica took a step back, grappling with the swirling emotions. But I don't remember anything. Her voice echoed, filled with frustration and fear. I can't remember what really happened. Suddenly, visions rushed at her, crashing into her mind. Her mother's laughter jolted through her, filled with warmth, followed by haunting screams that froze her blood. There it was, the phone call, the desperation, a vague recollection of chaos. She stumbled forward, vision blurring with conflicting images. No. Stop. She screamed inwardly, grappling with the realization that she was returning to the night that changed everything, the night her innocent world shattered. Face it, Jessica. The memory of her mother challenged, voice now more like an echo in the wind. You can't outrun the truth forever. With a deep inhale, Jessica steadied herself, staring at the shadow mother. I'm not afraid of you. She shouted, conviction surging within her. I need to know what happened. The shadow shrank back, but only for a moment, as if reconsidering. The room trembled, walls creaking like a ship caught in a storm. Jessica focused on the images swirling around her, piecing together fragments of her past. Blood. Screams. A door slamming shut. Please show me. She cried out, desperate for answers. She felt raw and exposed, teetering on the edge of a precipice between knowledge and the agony of realization. A single light flickered, illuminating a corner of the room where the floorboards were cracked, splintered sprigs of wood barely holding together. Something pulsed beneath them, a heartbeat buried under years of dust and silence, aching to be set free. Jessica's body trembled as she moved toward it, her heart racing with a mixture of dread and determination. What's down there? She whispered, kneeling and reaching for a splintered edge. The shadows shifted, their ominous murmurs urging her to stop, but she pressed on. She had to uncover the truth, no matter how painful it might be. The floor gave way with a loud bang, and she gasped as her breath caught in her throat. What lay beneath threatened to swallow her whole, darkness pouring out like an unending stream, but as the dust settled, a glimmer of something metallic caught her eye. A chilling recognition flooded through her as she reached for it. What had she uncovered? And would it break her or finally set her free? The pull of the truth was undeniable, but in that moment, before she reached her hand into the abyss, a surge of fear gripped her. If she grasped what lay below, would she still be the same person who had entered the mirror? A sudden crash echoed from behind her, breaking the fragile silence, sending waves of terror through her. She swung around to face the source of the noise, her heart pounding in her chest. What or who awaited her in this world of memories? All she knew was that whatever unveiled would change everything and time was running out. The weight of the moment bore down on Jessica. Heart racing, she leaned closer to the darkness beneath the floor. Every instinct screamed to withdraw, but she steadied herself. She had to know. And for the first time, she felt both fear and resolve intertwined within her. Jessica. A voice called, startling her. It was her mother's voice, fragile yet stern. You have to stop. You don't understand what you're unearthing. No. She shouted back, tearing through the suffocating air. You've kept me in the dark for too long. If I don't dive into this abyss, nothing will ever change. She reached down, fingers trembling, grasping the cold metallic item buried beneath the floorboards. With a fierce tug, she pulled it up into the light. It was a small silver locket, battered and tarnished, its surface scratched over the years. Jessica's breath hitched. It felt so familiar, like a ghost from her childhood, a relic of memories she had buried deep. She hesitated, feeling the weight of countless emotions, hovering on the precipice between safety and chaos. Look inside, the dark figure urged, its presence swirling with shadows, coaxing her to unveil the truth. Open the locket. Wrestling with the surge of memories flooding back, Jessica found the clasp of the locket. She flicked it open, and there revealed two faces. One was her mother, smiling brightly, radiant with joy. The other was an unfamiliar woman, eyes filled with torment and despair. Her heart raced as she tried to recall the woman's story, the fleeting whispers of past conversations echoing through her mind. Who is she? Jessica shouted, desperation laced with fury. The memories flooded back, her mother's frantic calls, the chaos, the layers of lies that ensconced every truth. Suddenly, pain swept through her as both figures seemed to intertwine. That's me, the shadowed figure spoke, its voice softer yet more haunting. That's who I used to be. I was trapped here, bound by your mother. To protect you, what did you do? Jessica asked, her voice a quaking whisper. Fear drove me. The shadow looked at her with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce right through her soul. Madness sunk in, and to shield you, I took drastic measures. I tried to prevent what would have torn us apart. But it was you screaming for help. Jessica realized, pieces of her memory weaving the truth together. You were the one below the floor. You needed rescue. Yes, but I also became the very thing I feared. The darkness flickered, and Jessica felt it pulsing with anguish. It was easier to keep both of us safe this way, separated from the truth. I don't understand. She cried. You didn't trust me. You kept me away from my own family. The crack in the shadow grew wider, revealing how it had tortured both women, how love can twist into delusion when fear is the only tactic. I was afraid you'd find out who I had become, it said, voice trembling. I've cried for years, but I was too deep into my regret. I am deeply sorry, my love. Jessica felt a rush of sorrow intermingle with the anger, realizing how terrifying it is to bear the weight of such monumental secrets. I needed you, Mom. I still need you. The ground trembled beneath her, as if the house recognized her yearning. The dark figure continued, look into your heart, Jessica. Only you can decide the path forward. As she pondered her choices, she formulated a single question, holding the locket closer. What will happen if I choose to set you free? You have to accept what we've been through. If you embrace the pain and learn to forgive, the cycle will break. The figure faded slightly, the outline blurring as if hovering between two worlds. Jessica wiped tears away, her resolve hardening. I'm ready to face it, she whispered, eyes locked onto the locket. She couldn't run from the truth anymore. I will not allow fear to dictate our lives. With her tumultuous emotions entwined, Jessica spoke firmly, echoing each word with determination. I accept my past. I understand your pain, Mom. We can face this together. The house shuddered violently, shadows swirling like a tempest inside the room as she repeated the mantra, releasing the fears that had imprisoned them for so long. The darkness began to retract, revealing light pulsating through every corner. Her mother's voice, both familiar and foreign, surged upward, calling out softly, Jessica, thank you. The locket shimmered in her hand, reflecting lives entwined in love and loss. The shadows convulsed and began to disperse, releasing their terrible grip. The walls illuminated bright, exposing the weight of grief. The pain began to fade like smoke in the wind. Jessica turned to face her mother, no longer a monster, but a woman struggling against her history. I forgive you, Jessica said, but we need to be honest with each other now. Let us heal this family together. Oh, my sweet girl, her mother wept, a tear cascading down her cheek. I loved you too much to let you see the truth. I thought I was protecting you. Love includes pain, Jessica breathed, stepping forward to wrap her arms around the woman she had thought she lost. We can face it together now. As they embraced, the shadows swirled one last time, finally breaking apart under the power of the light. The house groaned, the oppressive air lifting away as Jessica felt a weight she didn't know she carried dissolving into air. Is it over? Zach's small voice echoed from the doorway, where he had watched in awe. Jessica looked back with a smile, tears of relief shimmering in her eyes. Yeah, buddy. We've set them free. We can finally come home. Jessica gently squeezed Zach's hand, their fingers interlocking, warmth radiating through her. The house, as strange as it had felt, could finally breathe, and as they stepped outside, the burdens of the past no longer anchored them. Jessica felt a sense of freedom rise from within. Their family was still intact, but now it would heal. Together. Thank you for joining Jessica on this wild journey. Want to hear more stories like this? You need to subscribe now so you don't miss our next adventure. Smash that like button now to support the channel and keep this amazing community alive. Flood the comments section with your theories and feelings about the ending. You matter to us. And don't wait even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to experience this powerful conclusion.